walk you through the basic document setup for your explorations. This specific tutorial is helping you with the Getting Started assignment, which is focusing on just getting your document set up with the required information that will appear on every page of all of your explorations. So right now I just want to call your attention over to the right where I'm clicked on Pages. Oops, I'll open it back up. And right now I'm on my master page. So a master page is really helpful because it allows you to put information or grid lines within the page, and every time you drag it to your active pages, it'll apply all of that at once. It's also really helpful to go into and make edits so that you'll make the changes and it'll apply to all of those pages. So right over here you can see my active page, and it has a little A on it, which is the A master being applied to it. So I'm going to click right on that, and you'll see that there's content already loaded. And what I want to show you is if I were to want to take those functions off, I could take the none and drag that right onto here. The A disappears, and also all the information I set up in my master page disappears. But I do want that on here, so I'm actually going to go back to the A master and drag that back into here. You'll see the little A appeared, and it also says A master applied if I hover. And on that page has the grid lines I set up, and also within the document I'd set up a margin, so that means nothing goes beyond that edge, and these grid lines are here for me to use for the content that's required. So what you're going to be setting up is a line that has some basic information about the whole assignment, and it needs to have your name on it, the class, the semester, and the year. And for now, you can just put assignment 1, basic paragraph indicators indent, because that's the first exploration we're going to do when we move on to assignment 1. The other thing that you're going to set up is the colophon. So the colophon holds the information about the typesetting, and this is really helpful for me so that when I'm reviewing your work, I can take a peek at your typesetting, and it will help me when I give you critiques if I have to give you anything specific for contents. And right now there's this big open space right here, and this is going to be my active space for all of my explorations. So this is going to be the area that I'm going to be working in moving forward, and the rest of the space is set up and static. So that's one thing that you will need to do, is to set this up, figure out how you like it, make any changes based on feedback, and then keep it that way on all of the pages. So if you were to make any changes, you want to make those changes on all of the pages, which is why it's really helpful to have master pages set up. So right now I'm actually just going to place in that first assignment so you can see what it looks like in the space. So I'm using the height I have available, and I didn't need all of the width, but this is basically my playground, all of this space in here to work with. And I'm going to click within here. So I'm obviously, I just double clicked in here, but this is highlighting the type tool, and I have the ability to get all of the type functions. So right up at the top here, you'll see the little A, and if you hover over it, it says character formatting controls. You're probably pretty familiar with most of the stuff in here. And if you don't have this toolbar open, you want to make sure it is open because we're going to be using it a lot. So what you can notice is the colophon holds the same information that's up here. So I'm not going to have your file. I won't be able to see all that. So you're going to just repeat it down here. So what we have is it's read 8/12, and that's 8 points of leading. So that's how big my point size is. Over 12 is, 8 points of type, over 12 points of leading. So the 8 points is how big the actual type is, and the leading, the 12 points, is how many points the lines are set at. So the higher the number, the farther away these lines will be, and if you reduce the number, the closer they will be. And it's in Univair Light, which is called out up here. It's the typeface, and this is the weight. I have 40 points of tracking added in here. That is shown right up here. This is a wide column, and when you move along to indents, you'll understand what a 1M is, but right now this is a 1M indent. So this colophon holds all the information that I need to know about your type, and it's in the grid. And one thing you'll also notice with the grid is this grid line is for my colophon. So this bounding box goes right to the edge where the grid line is, and this grid line is for my body copy. So I don't let them share the same grid line so that we don't have to worry about the type crashing into each other. And then I also just brought those grid lines up to the top so that the class name is aligned with the workspace, and the colophon in the workspace has a top alignment that's shared as well. It's not that necessary to align everything exactly like that, but it is really nice to have some consistency in your document. So what I'm actually going to do is just hit a W on my keyboard right now. I'm not selected on anything. It's just the selection tool. And what that's going to do is get rid of everything that's on the page as far as grids and guides so that I can just see a clean page, and it shows me what it looks like when I would export this as a PDF. So when you export a PDF, it's not going to bring in all your grid lines, and sometimes they're a little confusing to look at, and it's helpful just to hit W so you can toggle those off and get a peek at how your document's looking. See if there's anything that you need to change. The other thing that I have set up within my name up here is some levels of hierarchy. So hierarchy in type is really important. It allows us an opportunity to focus on some versus all. And I decided to call out my name and also the assignment number. So that way, as I'm navigating all of your PDFs, I know who to give credit to, and I know what the assignment number is. You might also decide to add different levels of hierarchy up here, maybe with an italic or something else that's bold. That's all I chose to do. And I did not add any hierarchy specifically within this colophon. One thing that you also might notice is my standard information, my name, and the colophon is set in Serifa. So that is the typeface I decided to use across all of the pages. While this information in here is going to change based on the assignment. So even though this is set in Univers, this is not Univers. This word is Univers, but this typeface is Serifa. And this is going to keep changing. The words will keep changing, but the typeface and the positions should stay exactly the same. So that's about it for the Getting Started assignment. If it's helpful, you can drag in this general copy right here to see what kind of space you're working with. But otherwise, you want to make sure you just have your grid and basic information set up and ready to go.